It's just tough to know that there are 50 questions, only 12 can be asked. If you would care to dialogue later on, more than happy to meet up with anybody, get you a cup of coffee and go through many of your thoughts and concerns. Would be great. So I decided to run for this position, and to do that, I sold a successful business and lived off of savings for a year, preparing for a campaign and understanding the issues of the county. And I also found that many of the needs of people that live in this community are the kinds of things that we feel and touch every day in our world. And I think that they come first. So youth services are very important to me, and I stay involved through volunteerism on a number of levels with a number of nonprofits in the area. That really helps me listen to folks and bring into focus things that are important to them and directly work on those issues. At this point in the evening, we're just beginning, so as an introduction, again, I just want to say thank you very much, and I appreciate very much your focus and vote this election season.
Thank you for everybody being here. My points are pretty clear. Marysville is actually a crisis in the surrounding area, and we need a representative to actually represent the interests that were just spoke of. I was appointed to the Planning Commission last year, and I found rapidly that I couldn't make lasting changes in that position that is required to actually help the growth and economic change. I've been married to my wife Teresa for 35 years this coming October, which is a little while. And she works here in the local community. I'm on a small DJ business in Marysville, and we've got 3 children and 5 grandchildren, and we raised our family here. And the reason we came here was we came over the bridge on a road trip, and on that road trip, we came over the bridge, and there was this town, and we pulled in there, and it was a parade. Everybody was smiling. They were friendly. So at that point, we decided we had to move here. So we found we could fall in love with Marysville. So that's why I'm here. I'm running for county supervisor in the 2nd district because I believe I have the leadership abilities to make lasting changes and keep the public's focus the first day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I had something else I wanted to mention, and now it's spaced out of my head. Oh, your questions from the audience. I want to let you know that any future questions that come in, I forgot to mention this a few minutes ago, they cannot be pointed to one candidate. They have to be written in such a way that it applies to both candidates. And please write legibly. Some of them are a little bit difficult to read. We've found over the past couple of nights at forums. So write legibly and make sure you're one candidate or the other. Okay, thank you very much for your opening statements, and we'll start with our first question for Mike Leahy. And Steve, why don't you go ahead with that one?
For both candidates, starting with Mr. Leahy, Magnolia Ranch. Some heavy-duty lines were drawn over the proposed Magnolia Ranch development. Some say the proposal met all the requirements and the development would have been good for the economy. Others say that more development's not needed now, and go so far as to say that future development should be on hold until areas such as Plumas Lake and near build out. And there are several more points for each side. Which side are you on and why? Why is the other side wrong?
Thank you for the question. I'm honest, no for Magnolia Ranch, and it's very, very clear the reason why. Because in our government, in our society, and community, property rights are great. Advancing the agenda of the economic development of an area is awesome and it's important. But the one thing we have to do is we have to protect our people. We have to protect our people's property rights. So your one person's property rights and their freedom to do what they want cannot outweigh another person's property rights who hasn't decided to do so.
figure out how to create resiliency for Beal. Beal is poised, as it sits today, to move from 6,000 members that are active duty to about 10 to 12,000. And our resources are not lined up for them. In a letter supplied to Congressman Garamendi, Colonel Lee, commander of Beal, stated that now without Magnolia, there's a considerably larger initial investment required, which Magnolia was going to pay 80% of. And in addition to that, from here into the future, it will cost Beal twice as much to get services for wastewater treatment than what it would have cost if they had the partnership with Magnolia.
Mr. Leahy, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I would just like to say that the only discussion of eminent domain that has ever been discussed at Magnolia had to do with the overpass that is going to be required when the 15,000 homes in Wheatland are developed and they need a bypass for Wheatland. That's the only time that it was ever considered. There is no eminent domain for any part of Magnolia specifically.
Okay, we talked to John, we'll go to you first on this one. We talked about Magnolia Ranch, but outside of Magnolia Ranch, what should the county's take be on future developments? And where should new developments go? We have people that say not in the foothills, others say not in the floodplain. So where does that leave us for development outside of Magnolia Ranch?
So in that District 10, that's where our orchard property is, you have a community plan that has been considered, and with our community boundaries lined out within the general plan update that has occurred in recent years, and that will handle the absorption of any potential growth or need, even though Edgewater is close to being completely sold out in terms of its development or built out. Definitely there's room in Lewis Lake. We spent a lot of time trying to promote that. Also, I just want to mention that in the 6-county region that SACOG represents, there's an estimated 4,000 houses built a year, every year, in the 6 counties that make up the SACOG. We're one of those 6 counties. So growth comes, and we have an option, Bob. We can choose to plan for it and to build with a lot of thought in mind that balances economic expansion and workforce expansion, or we can just let it come willy-nilly and have no plan at all.
Mr. Leahy?
The actual growth that we need needs to be responsible and responsive to the community at large. It needs to be planned out the right way, and in a way that doesn't just create more issues. So if we finish the growth we have on the charts now, it would make more sense to plan and utilize without having to lean on special interests to help make that decision. So one of the projects that comes forward is we always seem to have a project that comes up that's not quite in the specific plan. So if we follow that, we should be all right, unless we keep changing the specific plan to include those type of options.
Okay.
Would you like to reply 30
Yeah,
seconds? Or
thank you.
Just hold on 1 second. We need to give Jackie a little time to reset the
No,
time.
that's fine. Okay.
So we spent 4.5 years developing this latest general plan update. When we did it, we reduced the general plan in weight and scope from 6 pounds and 6 ounces as reported in the territorial dispatch to something closer to 3 pounds. We've become much more interpretive. We adjusted for technology and development. And the other thing that we realized is that there were several inquiries out of the Highway 65 corridor for commercial interest. Ken Grossman from Sierra Nevada Brewery and I spoke directly. A Tesla competitor, a little bit 2,500 employees. None of them would build their own sewer plant.
Anything you want to add?
Mike, 30 seconds.
One of the biggest jobs that county supervisors do have is actually engagement with the county, and to be the sales agent to actually provide the infrastructure growth. And by doing that, we can actually bring in the proper companies. Now, in that, we can either issue excuses or we can issue results.
Okay, thank you.
part of the Magnolia Ranch controversy, it seems, there's been some criticism leveled at supervisors and candidates for accepting campaign contributions. Some critics even go so far as to label campaign contributions as some sort of bribery. What's your view on that subject? And review your own contributions. Do they pose a conflict of interest for you? Starting with Mike.
Thank you. I do know the contribution campaigns, donations that I received put a conflict of interest in. Specifically because when we look at the contributions that come in, what are the issues? The issues are always going to be decided when I am supervisor in one way. They're going to be decided what's best for my district. The next is what's best for the county. And then the next is going to be what's viable against the Constitution. So no, I don't see the conflict of interest appearing as a possibility based upon campaign donations in my campaign at this time.
Thanks. Mr. Nicoletti.
Thank you. So this is natural to have campaign contributions. It's what pays for campaigns. And it's also natural for the opposing view to take a position that anybody who contributes to that campaign is bad, but anybody who contributes to this campaign is good. And so whether you have collection parties or campaign drives in Wheatland at the Pioneer Hall for anybody against Magnolia, if that's not special interest, I'm not sure what we're trying to define what that is. But in reality, where does that money go? It goes to the local media. It goes to local sign shops. It goes to the local communications that run the campaign, so it really stimulates the economy. There's no other purpose for it. The FPPC watches for anything irregular or illegal, and in the end, you can give it to a nonprofit local in town. Everybody's a winner.
Thanks. Would you like to make a reply in 30 seconds?
No.
Okay. Thanks. We'll leave it at that. Bob?
Counties have been waiting quite a while now for a solution from the state for the dramatic decline in gasoline tax revenues and fundings for roads, streets, and highway construction and maintenance. How long do we keep waiting before we figure something out on our own? And give us your assessment of the condition of roads and bridges in Yuba County, and where are your priorities? John?
Thank you. So this has been a couple of years in the offing. The state has not chosen to deal with public works needs and local construction funding for long enough that we have spent through our trust, we've spent through our savings, and in the last few weeks we've had to lay off 4 people in public works on local roads. That was really, we held on as long as we could with the promise of the legislature that they would deal with this. They chose not to. Secondarily, we recently had hearings on a service area out by Wheatland, which if you go past the Wheatland proper and get to the Camp Far West area, those roads are in terrible condition. And they haven't had a cost increase on their service area since its inception. And it is so underfunded, the road is in such bad shape. And when the people voted to not raise a tax, we said, okay. And they said, so when do we get our new roads? I said, well, without a planned community, you don't have it.
The actual process and how to fix and improve the infrastructure of roads, it's almost like chasing a rabbit because really no one actually knows the exact direction to go. It's like it's not transparent at all, and it gets confusing. I mean, if it was simple, or would have already solved it. But right now, what I'm looking at is we need our new major resource, and to create that new major resource, we need to actually bring in the right kind of economic growth, and then we can have the opportunity to finish the infrastructure we need and continue to bring the infrastructure we have up to a better level.
Yeah.
Just a minute. Sorry. Go ahead.
I thought you said it was against Magnolia. You just described Magnolia. So what we're needing right now is a better way forward. The state has been a terrible partner for local communities, has been for a long time. Most of the money spent in the recent decades in California have been on social programs, not on infrastructure programs. Well, during that period, California's population has grown dramatically, and is growing today. So at some point, we're going to have to consider balancing back our priorities and including infrastructure.
Mike?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, because I really am against the Magnolia project, specifically for the merits of the project itself, I have nothing to do with wanting that project, just because I believe in economic growth. I believe in responsible economic growth that actually engages and welcomes the comment of the people and doesn't block it at every avenue.
Thanks. We're going to move into the subject of cannabis. In a nutshell, Yuba County developed a fairly liberal ordinance allowing for the growing of medical marijuana. Then came to believe that growers were moving in and taking advantage of the law and the county's ability to patrol grows. Then the supervisors passed a much more stringent ordinance which bans all outdoor growing and limits indoor growing to a separate structure. The new ordinance is viewed by users and growers as overly zealous, and so Measure A is on the ballot to loosen up the regulations. What's your assessment of how supervisors handled the issue? Anything that should have been done differently? Starting with Mike.
Thank you for the question. It's like the elephants. Nobody wants to talk. How the supervisors could have handled it a little better was, again, listen to the people and not stop the process when the people actually try to share their voice. So to me, that was important. That's an important thing that we got sidestepped in principle. So the ordinances that were actually laid out, they may have made sense, but as far as I understand, they came in from another county, the Shasta County, that we were following. So, like I said, I don't have all the correct information to make a qualified decision on it, but it was my feeling that we treated some people rather than
Mr. Nicoletti.
So we worked for about a year and a half on the initial ordinance and creating the design for it. It was a particular frustration of mine because there's no benefit for the county. There was no money coming in to offset the expense of our most expensive employees, our district attorney, our code enforcement, our community development, our sheriff, our county council, all sitting at the table with Mary Jane and I trying to work through this in an adjunct meeting. It was a big challenge to get there. I think what I've learned in the process is there are the people who use this for pain relief. There are people that want to have a mom and pop business. There are people that are corporate business. They came flooding into our community, and they're still the cartels. So none of those groups support each other. There's great divisions. There's not one rule that's going to satisfy each of them. So my top priority would be trying to help people that have pain relief needs or cancer concerns, which Measure A attempts to address.
Would you like to reply, Mike? 30 seconds.
I actually read Measure A, and it applies to the patient and not Billy with a skateboard. Now, that might sound odd, but that's the way it boils down to. It's actually responsible regulations are what I'm actually in favor of. So, because if it's responsible, it makes sense. And it pays for itself, and it actually funds the actual enforcement for the ones that aren't responsible.
Thanks. Mr. Nicoletti, would you like to
We still have a ways to go. As it stands right now, the district attorney and the sheriff are opposed to A, and I stand with them. We're on that team together.
Thanks.
Okay, going to the question of homelessness. We've had a real problem with the homeless for many, many years, and we just kind of put up with it. Now the two counties and the local cities are starting to talk. And the question is, how is the county affected and what should be done?
So I asked to serve on the committee to work on that, and we have been aggressively working in that program. We recently organized a community cleanup. We pulled out 78 tons of rubbish, five tons of tires, and about 4,000 pounds of ecology. It was chief in the partnership to get that done, but many local groups, including Maryville Football League, and many folks that came out just to help out. And though it was successful, it taught us a lot about what true needs are. But I would also suggest that it's not going to be an easy problem, because we had the same problem when World War II ended and Camp Beale went from 60,000 to about 15,000. Our riverfront park area filled up with 10 cities. Those people absorbed into the economy much quicker. What's happening now is that we have underemployment and exposure to drug use that is on such a level that they can't claw that back out of that system. It's too expensive to live. Affordable housing is the answer.
Mike?
Thank you. In recent time, the city and the county have not been able to cooperate and even communicate on certain levels of enforcement for decisions on homelessness. As by just example, by what just happened recently, the Marysville did one thing, the county did the other. There is a solution, however. The solution is it astounds people. It's the community involvement with agencies such as the Habitat for Humanity and putting it's actually a program called Housing First, and Housing First includes housing the homeless first, then treating the associated problems that created the homelessness, such as the addiction or the joblessness. So in Utah, they utilized this and they solved it 91%.
Do you have any further to say on it?
Yeah, also, as you reply, would you also, both of you, address how the county might affect the low-income housing inventory?
Okay.
Yeah.
Go. All right. So currently, California Rural Legal Assistance has about 24 clients that are homeless. They are intent on suing the city of Marysville. So I quickly coordinated meetings with that group and City of Marysville and the county. And thus far, the county has been able to support the city not only financially, but in actions that we put forward that has kept those lawsuits from beginning against the city of Marysville.
Thanks. Mike, for reply.
The issue, how does the county include the low income and then the low income housing? It's hand in hand with Housing First. You actually get to utilize federal funds approved by the Senate. So it's an opportunity for the community to come together and make a real lasting solution.
Thanks.
So with the housing, you asked a question about the accessibility to low-income housing and what the county is doing about that. I just want to add a response because there's two levels that are needed to be.
Okay, we'll give each of you another 30 seconds.
Thank you.
Are you ready? We're good.
The county initiated a process a couple of years back that grabbed blighted properties and used local contractors to restore them and then sell them undervalued specifically to make sure people had equity. That program was extremely successful, and as that transitions, we helped, actually Habitat called me, I went in and negotiated with the county, we lowered lot prices on a project on Sparks-Hamilton Road, and they're now building 32 homes.
Another 30 seconds on the topic, Mike.
Thank you. Having the county actually develop the infrastructure and run the programs, it all comes back to an effective and proactive county supervisor who actually seeks the right kind of development and works out the deal of work that we can put into low-income type apartment houses and housing projects. Those are out there and the funds are available. We just have to be diligent and work to find them.
Thanks. Next question. Is Fire Mountain Casino a good or bad thing for Yuba County? Why or why not? Starting with Mr. Leahy.
Thank you. Fire Mountain Casino at this time, how we got here doesn't, it's kind of important how we got here. The votes were against it, and then went forward. So right now I'm looking at it is what it is. And I see roughly 650 jobs, possibilities, should be 700. But of those 650 jobs, about 50 are going to be upper income level. That is an economic influx to this community that we need. We can't argue with. It's something that even though we may not like how we got there or how it happened, there's a benefit that's going to happen
Thanks. Mr. Nicoletti.
Thank you. So that entire region is zoned for sports and entertainment. It was overwhelmingly voted in support of by the county of Yuba. I was actually co-chair of that effort years before I was elected to local office. The casino entered into an MOU with the county of Yuba. That's legally binding. Both parties have to agree to stay in it. Both parties have to agree to destroy the MOU. And that has not happened. We did, during the process of studying that, look at both getting in and getting out of it from lawyers that represented both sides that really were just answering questions for supervisors. It's been battle tested. That MOU is strong. It's here. It's been 15 years. For any business to take 15 years to open is a crisis in its own. I mean, come on. You know, and I was contacted by Congressman Herter asking me, what is the big deal? There's casinos throughout his district. Why is this one different than the rest? But if you look at Thunder Valley, you look at Casino, and Calusa, then you get it.
Thanks. Mike, would you like to make a reply?
No.
Next question.
This is another question from the audience. To businesses moving to Yuba County, and how would you remove that obstacle? John?
I don't see obstacles, I see opportunities. It's my job. So I'm trying hard to think about the biggest obstacle, because when we hear people discuss matters, really I think interacting with special districts, you know, people assume they're coming to Yuba County, so can I open up a prune dryer here? Got a current project out at the airport, but the hookup for the prune dryer and its wastewater is with OPA. That's a special district. They have their policies and their rights to function the way they want to manage. And so it becomes incumbent upon us to add assistance and try to find ways to negotiate the right combination to make those particular entities, you know, be able to open. So we have a number of projects we've assisted special districts in, most of the county being unincorporated, and where we spend all of our time working on that economic building, it's really building those types of bridges.
Thank you. I see some of our challenges. I would call them challenges and not obstacles. Some of our challenges are in something that we need regionalization of some of those permit processes. We need to also, if we could utilize some of the funds from our Colgate power plant and lower the PG cost overall to everyone in Yuba County, it would make it more attractive to bring more businesses in. So is it an obstacle? I believe it's a challenge. And if we focus on solutions to challenges, we will find solutions. If we focus on the negative, we always find more negative. So to me, it's important that we actually are responsible with the assets and the stuff and what we have now. Make it a better tomorrow for you and I.
Would you like any additional time?
Sure. You know, if you were to create an annexation of Close Lake to Oliver, Linda, and Marysville, nobody has to give up their identity. We have Queens and the Bronx and Manhattan. But when we combine for that, it creates and triggers economic expansion. You know this because each of the car dealers had to move because of population. Here we only count the 13,000 incorporated of Marysville. In actuality, we have more, but that's not what Wall Street sees. So for them to participate, we need to see one group, and that creates a better way.
Thank you. The idea of annexation of such an area, I didn't think it wasn't even going in that direction. What I was talking about was the fee structure of different agencies working together and communicating. And it's a word that's often forgotten in local politics. It's called community.
Thanks. Water is a key ingredient to our community's life as well as our agricultural-based economy. Describe your basic philosophy for how the Yuba County Water Agency should be operated and what its ultimate goals should be. Are you in favor of any fundamental changes? What are they and why? Starting with Mike.
Thank you. I'm not the expert on the water agency, but I see a very, very proficient body that is working great and handling the business the way it should be. At this point, I do see some changes that focus. And that's justifiable because there's so many more pressures that we have to deal with. So to me, there's a couple of things I would see. I'd like to see the larger board just appointed. So that's where I'm at.
Thanks. Mr. Nicoletti.
So the Yuba County Water Agency is formed for 5 critical operations that cannot leave the act that it was formed with. It's flood protection. As a consequence of our dam, it's power generation. Then we get into fisheries and enhancing the environment within our river system and our waterfowl. And we also offer reliable water source for our urban land and our agricultural land uses. And the 5th is recreation. So when it comes to farming, there were over 500,000 acres fallowed in California of agricultural land during the drought. Over 20,000 jobs lost. Not 1 acre was fallowed in Yuba County. Yuba County Water Agency has a high quality record of being water experts for the entire state, and we're drawn upon for those experiences often. It's not just our team. We hire some of the best services we can from throughout the state. I believe in our current structure. I've seen the benefits. Thank you.
Do you need to make a reply, Mike?
Let's talk about the city of Marysville, which is also the county seat. And as we're aware, they're in dire financial circumstances. Do you support their sales tax measure? Regardless, what might the county do to help the city out of this financial quagmire? We talked the other night in the meeting we had on Monday about combining services.
Me. So, yes, I absolutely do. I was an early signer in support of Measure C. I was an early signer in support of Measure W. I think it's absolutely imperative that we take a look at putting new funding into the city of Marysville. I do believe in the city council that absolutely volunteers for this position because they love their community. They have a commitment to serve. I really don't think that when we're talking about the solvency of Marysville, that we should be thinking in short-term moments on, candidacies that are held in 4-year increments. If we don't like a particular candidate and what they're representing, we have an opportunity soon to vote them away. But in reality, we have to help this city. We have to move forward. And we're one of the few cities that don't have a special tax in the state of California. It's time.
Thank you. I believe that right now Measure C is, I don't see it. I honestly don't see it passing because of the support that the people I've been talking to. When you talk to the people, they always want to know what's it for. So the issue is actually before the voters, and such a true representative will do for the voters. Is the city itself or the city government in trouble? Okay, so it's a matter of how we understand that. It is in trouble. And there are other avenues that we can actually look at. And we're progressively seeking those even before taking office. So, is it a good idea? I don't think taxation is never a good idea. But it may be required, so it's up to the people to decide. I'm not saying that to stay on the fence. It's personally, I don't like taxation.
Would you like to make a reply? Okay, thanks.
We have time for one more question before our closing statements.
Can I talk? I just got here.
No, you may not
You
talk.
said you have one more question.
No, we're not taking questions orally. You can fill out a card.
Well, I would fill out a card for you just before you close the floor, please.
The final question is, what can the county do to help ensure the long life and good relationship with Beale Air Force Base? What benefits can the county derive from the base? What benefits can the county deliver to the base? That starts with Mike.
Thank you. The first thing I would do is actually seek out a proper way of funding the infrastructure that we're requesting right now without developers' input. And there's ways to get around that. There's ways of projects that we can fund that. And if that's what we need to do, that's
been involved with Beal Air Force Base and our family the entire way. And we continue, and that will never change. But I can tell you that Beal right now has a peak load of 15 megawatts when it's operating its services. There's a building in construction that is doubling their mission for their distributed ground surveillance that will take them to 24 megawatts peak. They don't have the setup for it. They reduced the number of houses they have from 1,500 to 500. That means the cost per house raises dramatically. They don't have the setup for it. There are two things that threaten Beal: the wastewater and the electricity. Our community have tried to put solutions forward. We've been pushed back, but we are not going to go away.
Thanks. Mike, would you like to make a 30-second reply?
No.
Thanks.
Okay, gentlemen, time now for our closing statements. Each one of you will have up to 2 minutes to talk about whatever you'd like to. And we'll start with Mike Leahy.
Thank you. Once again, I'm running for county supervisor for a purpose. I have a passion for Marysville and the surrounding area. I care. And I'd like to be a focused representative for the people's good. In other words, I'd be open to talking to the people and not just during an election term. I would also not stand in the way of the people's right to voice their opinion through the process of petition. Yes, that has happened in the past. It's very important that we remember why we make decisions the way we make them. So the road that brought us here today has been filled with many best intentions that were for the betterment of the people. I say that sometimes they forget who they represent, and sometimes in the hurry and the rush of the decision, we look at things that the public doesn't see. And when the public doesn't see them, we need to have what is called transparency. Because a lot of times, when the board makes a decision, the information they have, if it was transparent to the public wouldn't have had such a problem with it. So it's important that for us in our local area, we need to remember the winds of change aren't always bad. We can't have a restoration for the best. Yet to make that occur, we have to make it a community thing. Everyone has to come together, at least on some level. We can agree to disagree on some issues, but yet we need to be responsive to the people we represent. And that's why I accepted the nomination to run for county supervisor. And that's why I asked people to elect me on June 7th.
Thank you very much, John.
Thank you, Bob. And really, again, I have to just thank the folks that are here. It's gratifying to see people engaged in their community and having interest in what's being said. And that goes for the other candidates that will soon be speaking. You know, I love this community, and I love to serve. My family comes first. My church is right with my family. I immediately want to measure how much I volunteer because I love really participating in the community on a broad scale. And you can pretty much find that we're in every one of those kinds of groups. And it is a pleasure. I also appreciate very much the opportunity to work. I work as a part-time teacher at Yuba College. There's no way to do this job and take a full-time position that I've been able to discover. I sit on 24 boards and commissions that are involved in this job title. But one of the things that have happened at Yuba College is we've been able to put over 70 students to work in restaurant jobs and food service positions. Really happy about that. And tonight, I'm sitting here wearing, clothes that came from Cotton Rossers, it came from Jim Sullivan's. It's Rodeo Wednesday, we're supposed to cowboy up, but I feel 100% that I am local grown, that I am deeply committed to serving this community way before I reach that title of county supervisor. I'm the person that has always been in the line of service, and I always will be. So really, it's a question of trust. It's a question of, do you have the faith that when we're in these closed sessions, is this person looking out for the best interest of our community? Well, I'm tired of exporting our young people to other communities to find viable work. I think we've been on an ability to Caltrans that have missed that ability. And I'm going to lean into it